right in here, spawning in the bottom position as our red Zerg. He is ARMANI for the Afrika Freaks. And his opponent, up here in the top, he is simply Trap. That's a trap. You know, every time I see Trap playing, I really try and sneak in that Admiral Akbar thing, but I've been pretty lazy about it recently. Now, ARMANI is going to be just going straight for that third base. He knows Trap is going to be denying him that natural expansion for right now. You know, nothing too crazy going to be happening here. I think the first game is kind of just the feeler for these two players. They're very evenly matched. And like I keep coming up with, the best of three, really that first game is the most important, because after that, every single game is match point for one player or the other. So it really sets the pace for how the series is going to go. If you go into a kind of longer game, you kind of wear yourself out very quickly. And I know that's not really a problem for these players because they're used to those longer best of sevens. If you watch our show matches, we make them do best of 9 so they dance for our entertainment. But it can be exhausting when you're playing like 5 to 6 best of 3s a night, then going into best of 5s later on. Yeah, especially when there's so much at stake here. 1,260 points on the line, and quite a good chunk of change as well. You know, that's money that'll feed you for a bit, especially if you take into consideration the exchange rate for the won. Like, the exchange rate's usually pretty good, so you can make it go a lot further. Now, Trap does have the Stargate on the way, and the question is, Void Rays, yes or no? Because, I mean, a lot of Protoss have been trying to make it work, and I've seen it go both ways today. DRG absolutely shut it down. A lot of the European mana I saw earlier absolutely decimated with it. But it does not look like that is going to be the case. I would like to see him kind of mix in some Phoenix play with this. I know that's a little bit ballsy, but it's a move that really really throws your opponent off, and it allows for that consistent harassment damage, kind of forcing your opponent to consistently be remaking those drones rather than fighting units. Keeps you on your toes. That's a pretty good recap of that game, Clojurian. Thank you for letting us know. Oracle going to be coming in here. The magic number for the first Oracle is usually 5, but 4 is still a pretty decent attempt there, especially since he caught a lot of those drones that were transferring to the third base. So some good damage there. And now with the double Oracle, he can actually just one-shot these probes a lot easier. Just have to be careful because you do need the Oracles for later stages of the game. Behind this, we do see that transition, getting that third base down, going to be going for those upgrades, as well as that Twilight Council. And I think from here, you just go into charge, maybe throw down that Templar Archive or the Robo facility, and just go for this big, overwhelming push as Trap before your opponent can get a pretty solid unit count. Here we go, a little bit of a double prong here. 8 workers going down. The Lings completely out of position to deal with this, as they are they were setting up for a bit of a run by, probably a little bit too preemptively. The depths though, not going to be able to sync up with the oracles as the queens are in position, so only 2 workers going down for that. A good effort by Trap. He has done a lot of good damage, like killing off 14 workers to start things off. But I think he will want to recall those oracles just to keep them safe for the revelations, because you do need that to kind of deal with the creep and keep an eye on the Zerg army. Did he actually sacrifice the oracles? Oh my goodness, he actually sacked them for 6 more kills. That's pretty crazy. Okay, so forget everything I said about the oracles and the revelations. Those are no longer a factor. But ARMANI going to be doing, or Trap rather, going to be going for a bit of a slight push. He's still got a couple of adepts kind of trickling in, going for small little hit squads here and there. But this is all really just a forbearance to the big stalker attack coming his way. Actually, Trap rather is going to back up. Very interesting. I feel like Trap would have been able to trade efficiently with Blink. He also has a lot of force field energy with this, so I guess he was just waiting for that Warp Prism before he pulls the trigger. And I mean, ARMANI is going to be able to see this. His creep spread is far enough forward where it is going to reveal this army before it gets to the 3rd and 4th. But here we go. Now there is quite a bit of files available with this. The ramp a little bit more secure, so Trap going to be very cautious with this army. And there's a bit of a timer with this, because you're not going to win it with Stalkers. You do need to start transitioning, get that Colossus up as your opponent goes into Hive, so Lurkers are going to be on the way soon. So, again, this is kind of just a light pressure push in order to give yourself a little bit more room to breathe. Do have that scary worker count there. That's when Zerg can afford to pretty much make anything they want. Trap does see as well that it is the Hive finishing up. Does big lean run by. Going to get quite a few of these Zealots for some more defensive weapons, so that is less units at the front. Still quite a bit of biles with this. None of them going to hit just yet, but they are very good for zoning out this Protoss army from the ramp. And yeah, Trap just not really able to advance too much further. Too good of a concave right now. He's not really touched the economy of ARMANI in such a long time. Excuse me. Now with this ARMANI completely maxed out, he is going to be getting a huge wraparound with the Lings. Doesn't want to overextend too much, but that's just going to be there. So whenever Trap decides to pull the trigger and attack into this, those Lings are going to be in position. And actually, he's just going to use them for the surround. A couple of good force fields going to deny this for a little bit longer, but the Bile's going to pull that back. A yoink on the Colossus, and those are going to be one shot very quickly. Trap doing a fighting retreat, but he is not getting the trades he needs to make this worth it. And so ARMANI just skyrocketing ahead in terms of that supply. Now, the saving grace for Trap is he is on equal bases to ARMANI. Right now, we only see the 5th going up now. But again, actually, no, never mind. I do like this transition. He's got the disruptors out. It's going to make it very difficult for those lurkers to burrow. Unfortunately, though, they're not getting the shots off. There we go. A couple of good connections, but now the disruptors are gone. Trap forced back once again. And, I mean, ARMANI can kind of afford for this base to take a little bit of pressure off himself. Gets the cancel on it, but I like ARMANI's position way too much right now. Especially when Trap does that. You know, the problem is Trap is taking those unequal engagements. He's losing those high-tech units that he really needs to help himself defend. It's just really painful to watch for him. Because he's not really able to get back into it. Cloud's going to be going down as well, zoning out this army. He is fighting so heavily on creep. Lurkers have their speed and they have their range, so now they can kind of dive on this army. There is Storm and there's a lot of High Templar energy, so that is going to force it back for right now. But these Lurkers can just easily reposition themselves to force this back. Now, keep in mind, ARMANI has not been on Trap's side of the field for quite a bit of time. So Trap been given a lot of room to breathe. Even going to get a lot of drone kills here. So really, ARMANI is kind of hard pressed to get some damage done now. He's going to do it. He's got to do it now. He does get some good yoinks on those Immortals, only losing one of those Lurkers. But with every storm, they just get weaker and weaker. I don't think there's that much storm energy left, maybe 1 or 2 available. One of them does get sniped. But now, here we go. A big engagement coming down. Those Immortals doing what they can, but they don't actually have the upgrade to deal with the Ravagers anymore because they are not armored. So they start to fall, and I think ARMANI has barely broken this position as Trap down over 20 supply, almost doubled the army. And now it's kind of funny to see Trap kind of gearing up for a counterattack. I just don't think that's the right call because ARMANI can just come back and fight this, and then there you go. That is all your fighting units done. But, oh, he sniped the Hive. That's pretty good. Not good enough. GG is called for ARMANI. So ARMANI just looking very solid in this game. Even though he was taking that damage in the back, he really wasn't too worried about it. He kept his army alive. And that's the problem. We've seen, this is like the 2nd series in a row where we've seen we've seen the players do well in killing off the production, but they never actually engage the army, so the army, that just comes back to bite them in the butt. Joined by some other lovely casters here. Looks like Solar versus Time is going on Wardy's stream as well, so if you want to catch that game, check them out. But thank you guys so much for the follows. I am still following that activity feed. A lot of lovely names. Canuck Prime. I like your name a lot. Because you sound like a Canadian Autobot from Transformers. I don't mean to single you out, so I apologize if that's offensive. But yeah, really good start here. Let's introduce these players as we hop into Lightshade right about now. So spawning down here in the bottom position, up a game, he is ARMANI. His opponent up here in the top, he is Trap. Yeah, I'm watching the end of that game on the stream. And yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool that he did kill. He did get the kill off the hive. He got some good drone kills, but again, the army's still alive. It was more than enough to keep things going. And now ARMANI going for a more aggressive third base location, and this will allow him later on to kind of push that creep forward, make his attacks hit a lot further. I think the most important thing about this matchup is the creep spread, because for all the timings that a Protoss can do, if they get delayed in the middle, just by being viewed, being seen, and kind of just picked off, then you just put yourself in an amazing position. So yeah, creep spread, very important. Now this time Trap is going to be going for that Twilight Council. There's really two big options for him. He can go for Adept Glaive, or he can switch that out for DTs. I don't think Blink is the best option. That's just not really effective versus early game Zerg, mass lings kind of deal. But yeah, we'll have to see what he decides to go for here. He's pumping out an Adept, so that kind of makes me lean towards Glaze. Place your bets in the chat. There we go. Never mind. Hey Ted, you did an awesome. Like, you had some awesome games there. Your aggression was really on point. I was very impressed by that. And yeah, don't worry. I did switch it to the right screen. I try and get it a little bit later, so maybe about the 20 to 30 second mark, just because there's not really too much going on. So there's no real point in entering the game at like second 1. But yeah, GG Ted. You did really well. Zaun is a really tough opponent to go up against. Now, now Trap is going to be committing quite heavily to this. He's got those additional gateways down, and the first small smattering of Adepts are going to be coming across with that Warp Prism. If this doesn't work, I think Trap might just have to tap out because he's going to be a little bit behind, really far behind. Worker production has completely stopped. And it's all about the Adepts. First shade in, not going to happen. The Spine Crawler in the front as well, going to make this location very defensible for Armani. And already we do have quite a few roaches out and about. Couple of bios going down. A lot of Armani's units are out of position, so now the main mineral line is under threat. And this is really the point where Trap starts to snowball. There's just not that much here for Armani to deal with this. Very aggressive shade in right there as rotating off 13 workers, and that is going to send us into game number 3. That is how you do it as a Trap. That's how you force the ace. Kind of keeping an eye on the other matches so we don't have that big of a delay going into our next one. Looks like Bunny gets a walkover. I think Dream might have left. Probably didn't know that it was a best of a two-prong. No, bets are not. Nah, bets aren't enabled. Might be for the future if I can talk to Sushi about it. That's really up to him. No, not bad. Everything is shaping up pretty well. No, I'm covering my own face. All right, let's hop into this one before I get too distracted. Spawning. Down here in the bottom position, he is Armani. And his opponent. Up here in the top, he is Trap. All right, so Trap changed it up in game number 2. Really good move from him to be that aggression. Armani just really wasn't expecting it, so he didn't have the roaches out in time. He didn't have enough lings, and once that second warp in kind of comes in, and there's nothing to stop it, it really just starts to snowball from there, and it's really a difficult decision for Armani to make on how he can actually hold that. Now, I'm kind of interested on what Trap is going to do on this map. I've seen him primarily go for that Adept Glaive on Oxide, because there are a lot of positions where you can kind of rotate around. A lot of places that you can kind of shade into, get that damage done, and it allows you to transition a little bit easier because the bases are a bit further away from your opponent. But yeah, he's just going to get the scouting information, sees the bases where they're supposed to be. He's not really expecting anything too crazy out of Armani right now. But it is going to be Stargate. So now there's two things about Stargate. There's either that really long con where you drop the additional ones, go for the Void Rays, or it's for kind of that normalcy, getting the Oracle, being a bit of a nuisance with it, and then transitioning into the Twilight Robo. So far, I think in this game, it's going to be better to be aggressive early on, because we did see that once Armani starts to get into that comfortable stage for Zerg, that 50 to 100 drones, yeah, it's just really hard to break him. Good scout here from Armani. He sees that the Oracle is building. He even gets to catch the Adepts out on the map. He cancels that Shade. I don't think that's the best decision there, man, as he loses both of those Adepts. Wow, that is a pretty nice pickoff there for Armani. He did use a lot of Lings to do it, but still, this does mean that this Oracle is the only damage dealer, and the Spore Crawler is in the way. Of that. Yeah, there you go. Only getting one worker for the time being. So double Oracle going to be coming in. Has to be careful with it. Those Oracles so important to the mid game. You really do need to keep them alive. To keep an eye on the Zerg army, because the Zerg army is a very mobile one. It sets itself up good for the sets itself. One second. I'm on my third monster of the night, so I'm a little bit jittery and losing my words, but it's set up for these kind of counterattacks, rotating around your army, and just really having, it's really difficult to kind of keep up with, as the Protoss army is a little bit slower. It's not really as mobile. So it is important to keep an eye on that with that Revelation and the fast-moving Oracles in the air. Now trapping good positions all over the map, just trying to mitigate the damage from them. Good force field's going to trap all of these units, no pun intended. As the Oracle's going to come in and get some cheeky probe kills, or drone kills rather. 12 workers going down in this game so far. So behind this, both players kind of just powering up. Still relatively low supply game, as Armani was focusing on getting up to that 65, 70 worker count. And now he's just going to be pumping out the units from here on out, even adding on the Spire. And, I mean, Mutas would be a pretty nice choice at this stage. There is Blink, but there's so much room to kind of rotate around behind the bases. And plus, he's going to be going for a very big frontal push here pretty soon as well. So just any kind of harassment in the back pulling away some of the units of Trap is going to make this attack so much more powerful. He does get a good wind of this. He sees pretty much everything with this hallucination. But you know, it's all going to be about whether he can get a good engagement. Does look like Trap wants to be the first one to move out. Just clear up a little bit of that creep and back away. Not paying attention, going to lose that Oracle. The other one did fall as well, and that's going to prompt ARMANI to go for this big attack. Currently up over 30 army supply. He sees the War Prism, and he sees the army of Trap out of position for this. One good thing here for Trap is he's going to be able to pick off a lot of these reinforcements, but unfortunately, that does mean he's probably going to get surrounded here as the Biles going to clean up all of those force fields. And now Trap on the retreat. He's kind of cut off from his third base and having to rotate around. Still, there's quite a bit here, and with the shield battery popped, ARMANI not going to be able to push to position just yet. The Adept's going to be coming in, trying to force back as much as possible. But I mean, ARMANI still has everything in his corner right now, even if it doesn't seem like it right away. Yeah, he's got all the tools that he needs to close this game out. And look at that, 11 Mutalisks on the field already, going up to an even 13. And yeah, now ARMANI hitting from multiple locations. The Munis going straight into the main base, forcing all the Stalkers away. The Colossus going to be able to clean this up. That's not the brunt of ARMANI's force, though. He's got quite a few Ravagers and so many Mutalisks. The Stalkers barely able to keep up with them with the blinks. And I mean, from here, ARMANI is just going to keep the pressure rolling. We did not cover Zest and DRG on this channel. I don't think Wardy did either. But I'm not sure. Now, Trap actually a little bit supply block there for a bit. And I mean, ARMANI can consistently continue to max out. Adding on 8 more Mutalisks. They do have plus... Actually, they don't have +1 just yet. That's about to finish up. Yeah, he's just setting up for all these different little double prong harassments. There's enough Stalkers here, but this Mutaball is just gotten very, very big, even forcing Trap to go into the additional Stargates to deal with it, as the Stalker is no longer enough. Now, there was a good hit on the Disruptors, going to be forcing the Ravagers back, but again, just looking at this, ARMANI able to completely max out over and over. And yeah, the Phoenix gonna help out a bit as that swarm grows, but ARMANI really just trying to dive on top of that. He can get on top of the production as well, rotating around with his main army towards the third base. Now the meter ball is going to start to fall as the Phoenix doing a pretty good job, but Trap's entire army is out of position for this attack on this side. I mean, Trap is holding on pretty darn well. Going to be switching into the Corruptors behind it. Does he have a hive? He does not. So that's a bit of a mistake, as you really do need to keep those upgrades rolling. And Trap going to even add on the DT Shrine behind this. He's pushing his way forward, completely maxed out. I mean, enough of those Mutalisks have fallen that the Phoenix can just help out to deal with the Ravagers. A small bit of a counterattack here. Not going to do too much either, as we are in not even a base race situation. It's pretty much just a full-on slaughter here as Trap battles his way forward. 6 more Mutas on the production tab to finish things out. But the supply for ARMANI is absolutely abysmal right now. Muta's going to be doing what they can, and they will be able to pick off the Dark Shrine, which is you know, nice, because I think Trap is pretty much using that for Archons, as well as small bits of harassment. But now we are in a full-on base race. The Phoenix back at home to defend. They will be able to pick off a lot of those Mutalisks as long as Trap is careful with them. But yeah, he's got this a lot better. Only 1 mining base left for ARMANI. He's down below 100 supply. And even though the Phoenix starting to get cleaned up, there's just still so much in Trap's favor right now that we should be seeing the tap out pretty soon. Yeah, there you go. Trap takes the series.